Hey guys, Mike here, the Detroit Borg, with a look at the Verizon exclusive Nokia Lumia icon, also known as the Lumia 929 for Verizon. This is their flagship Windows phone. This is running Windows 8.0. It's a 5-inch phone with a full 1080p display, AMOLED, with a pixel density of 441. It has pretty high-end specs. Has the Snapdragon 800 processor clocked at 2.2 gigahertz, 2 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of internal storage, which is not expandable. There is no SD card slot here. It's also using a nano SIM, so it's got the small SIM, the same one that the iPhone uses. Has wireless charging built in with NFC technology, and has a 20 megapixel pure view camera, which is a really excellent camera, which we're going to take a look at here. Alright, so let's crack into this and take a look. Alright, so I'm just going to pull the sleeve off. I'm going to lift the lid, and I should say that this really isn't a pure unboxing because I have opened this already. It's a review unit from Verizon. I haven't taken the plastic off yet, but I have been using it. So there is our phone. This is available in white or black. I actually think it's a great looking phone. We're going to set that aside for just a moment and take a look at what they've included. So you can see we have our standard pamphlets and paperwork in different languages, a user guide, safety warranty information, that sort of thing. We have a micro USB cable. There you go, for charging and syncing it. And then we have a wall adapter, Nokia branded. And you can see it's still got the plastic on it. Pull that off, get a nice glossy finish. There you go. Alright, so let's get to the phone. Alright, so taking a look at the icon, let's remove the plastic. And as you can see, the plastic actually tells you a little bit about the buttons and ports, and we're going to take a look at those. Peel off the plastic here, got a little tab. On the back, we have another label here which we'll peel off. Now taking a look at the design of the icon, they've done some really interesting things here, starting off with the glass on the front. So we have this kind of chamfered edge. If you look at the glass, you can kind of see it has this nice polished edge to it. So when you roll your finger across the display, it kind of is rounded toward the edges. It also creates this kind of jeweled effect. I think it's kind of nice. This is using Corning Gorilla Glass 3, so it's pretty scratch resistant, pretty durable. But of course, if you drop it, you have a little more surface area to contact and shatter, potentially shatter or scratch the glass. So that's something to keep in mind. On the back, you have this polycarbonate panel, which is available in black or white, but around the edges you actually have this nice metal band as part of the antenna structure. So if you look really closely here, you kind of see it looks pretty seamless, especially in the black version, but it creates this nice seamless design with this nice rigid, cool touch of metal. It's a really nice, I think it's a great design, nice build quality and construction. If you look even closer, you can see we have our antenna breaks actually toward the bottom here that surround the micro USB charging port. You can kind of see the metal etched here for some of the information. Around the right side, you'll find your standard Lumia or Windows controls. So as you can see, we have our volume rocker at the top, sleep wake button, and our dedicated camera key. So you can launch the camera just by tapping that button, and if it's locked, you just tap and hold it to launch the camera. As you can see, there's also this polished metal, which goes nice with the black. Up top, you'll find your headphone jack, which again is center mounted. I'm not a big fan of this. I know Nokia likes to do this, but it does have those antenna breaks on either side as well. And this is your nano SIM tray, which you pop off with your fingernail, which unfortunately I can't do at the moment. On the back, you'll find your PureView 20 megapixel Carl Zeiss optics camera. This also has a dual LED flash right next to it. It also has optical image stabilization, so it's full optical image stabilization. Again, very interesting software features in here which we're going to explore. And then you can see we have one of our pinhole microphones up here. We have another one down here. One of them is a noise cancellation microphone, but it's also for stereo pickup for video. So you do get stereo pickup for video recording. And then we have our single loud mono speaker. So up top we have our Verizon branding and our earpiece. You also find this 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera, which is only good for 720p video. Now toward the front we have our Windows controls down here. If you look really close, you also see another pinhole microphone for your voice. So this is the mouthpiece. So we have search, home, back, and if you tap and hold the back button, it takes you to the multitasker. Alright, so let's go ahead and boot this up for the first time and take a look. So I'm going to tap and hold the power button. Alright, so as you can see, we have our Windows phone interface, and we already have some notifications popping up here. So if you tap on that, it takes you to whatever app pushed that notification. Alright, so let's go ahead and explore the user interface, starting with a lock screen. So as you can see, some of your notifications will appear on your lock screen, so just let you know that they're there. You also see some of your information toward the top, such as your battery status, your connectivity. Right now I'm connected to LTE. And then I can swipe up to unlock. Takes you to your home screen, which you can slide through. This is that live tile interface, which is highly customizable. You can swipe right to see all of your available apps. So not all of them appear here, so just the ones you want appear here. And these are resizable, so for example, you can tap and hold on them. So you can resize these tiles, and it depends on the apps. Some of the apps dictate exactly what size options you have, and you can unpin it from that home screen. And they are still here, so if you go here and you want to repin it, all I have to do is tap and hold on it and pin to the start screen. And I just have to move it back to where it was and resize it. There we go. Now, of course, we have this live tile interface. So, for example, the weather app is showing us the current weather conditions. Our contacts are showing us our thumbnails. And then we have our Photos app showing us our photo gallery. So it's always active, always showing you some information. And of course, you can continue adding more and more apps. You also have popular third-party apps such as Instagram, which I did download from the App Store. So you do have that app if that's important to you. And as you can see, you have your interface unique to the Windows Phone experience right down here. You can also tap on that to get to more information such as settings. It takes you directly to the app settings. So here you can see we have our sort of unique Windows interface adapted for this app. Which is mostly like a tabbed view. All I have to do is swipe through it. Now to get to the multitasker, tap and hold the back button, and you can see all the apps you've launched recently. And what you can do is close them like this if you prefer, or you can launch them like that. And again, let me show you how to close them. Just tap that. Now you can't swipe them out of the way like you can with some other operating systems that have this sort of multitasker. Now, in addition to swiping right, you can also just tap the arrow right there. It takes you to all of your apps. You also have this little search icon, so if you want to search your apps, it brings up your keyboard, and you can go ahead and search for specific apps instead of trying to find them through here. Now, Windows Phone is all about the full screen experience, so they try to eliminate the extraneous information. So if you want to get to it, all you have to do is tap on it, and it bounces back into view. So again, you see your battery information and your connectivity. Now, in terms of some of the basics, so for example, if you go to your volume rocker, you can see you get the little volume indicator up here. If you want to set this to vibrate or ring, you can also do that by tapping up here. Now, this interface is highly customizable, so if you go to settings, go to theme, you can see the default is Verizon Red, but you can change that to any number of colors. So for example, if you want to go to this blue color and click done, go to your home screen, you can see it's now this sort of blue theme. Go back to settings, and we can do a few other things such as change the backdrop. We can change the backdrop to a light theme, so if you prefer a white background, you can do that as well. So you can see how that looks. Now if you tap and hold the home button, it takes you to your voice command. Show me the weather for tomorrow.
Searching for show me the weather for tomorrow.
So it's not as sophisticated as something like Google Now or Siri, but it does, as you can see, give you pretty decent results here. How tall is the Empire State Building? Launch Twitter. So as you can see, you're kind of limited in terms of what it can do, but you can make calendar events, you can place phone calls, play certain music, that sort of thing. Now you have to be specific with some actions. So for example, if you want to set an alarm, you can't say, wake me up at 8 a.m.
Searching for wake me up at 8 a.m.
Instead, you would have to say, set alarm for 8 a.m.
Starting alarms.
So again, you have to be very specific with your language in order for a lot of this to work. Now let's take a look at our app selection. So this is a mix of both Microsoft, Verizon, and Nokia apps. So we have some standard apps such as alarms. This is an app that all Windows phones come with, so you can create a new alarm. And as you can see, the interface is uniform across all of these apps. So you got a nice uniform experience. It's pretty simple in terms of its visual design. So it's mostly text, very simple graphics, but still looks really sharp and clean. Now, App Social is a Nokia app. Basically, this helps you to discover new apps based on both your social networks that you've logged into and that sort of thing. We also have Bing Finance, which is a very nice looking app for financial information. And as you can see, as we swipe through the pages here, this is a common theme in Microsoft apps. You also have these icons down here, which take you to your settings, which change depending on what page you're looking at. We also have Bing News. Again, same story, takes you to your top stories and you can move between them. And as you can see, you have your settings down here. You get your quick badges down here, but you can expand them just by tapping that little indicator in the right. You can go directly to your settings without leaving the app, which is nice. You have Bing Sports as well. Takes you to your sports scores. You can refresh your feeds. You can also search. and take you to your top sports stories. Again, very nice, good looking app. Bing Weather, another nice app. Takes you to your weather, uses your geolocation, so it knows I'm in Rochester. We have the Calculator app, again, same experience you get on most Windows phones. We have the Calendar app, which again is very clean and simple. So we can go to our month view right here and move between different months and tap on the day to get to your expanded view. Now we also have the standard Microsoft Camera app, which is a much simpler camera app than the one that Nokia has also included, which they call Nokia ProCam. So if you go down here, you'll see it, Nokia ProCam, which we'll explore a bit later. We also have Creative Studio, which is another Nokia app. This allows you to edit photos. So for example, let's go ahead and take this photo I just took last night. So as you can see, you have a variety of filters you can pick from silver to ivory to seashell. We even have one called jade, which is kind of interesting. So let's go with opal here. I'm going to select that. And again, we have these icons down here. If you don't know what they mean, just tap that. It reveals their badge name. You can go to edit, and you have several options here. Again, it's a very slick, clean looking app. So you can also swipe between them. You can blur it, play it, so you can do color pop and collage. I'm not going to go through all of these. You can adjust color balance, brightness, clarity, and vibrance, fix crop rotate, fix red eye, and it goes back to the blur, which is the original item we were looking at here. Now what I want to do here is go to focus shift. Whoops, there we go, focus object. And then what you do is basically select an area that you want to focus just by circling it. Let's go into landscape. Click next. And so that will blur the background. What I'm going to do is circle the object I don't want blurred. Click next. So it basically brings that into focus, and we can click apply and save that to our photo gallery. So this gives you some editing options. So it's kind of similar to something you can do on Instagram, but quite a bit more powerful. Now we also have our sharing options, which include messaging, Google Mail, Instagram, OneNote, Twitter. So you can see that third-party apps also appear under sharing, which is also nice, similar to Android, but unfortunately iOS doesn't do that. Now we also have DataSense, which is a way of managing our cellular data usage. So if you want to set a limit, you can do that. This also tells you exactly how much you've used to date. We have games, so this is just Microsoft's game store. So here you can purchase new games. As you can see, I've logged into my Xbox account, even have my avatar right there. And I can see all my Xbox friends and that sort of thing. So all of that is manageable from here. That's pretty familiar to other Windows devices. Google Mail, so I have my Google Mail app. Help and tips, again, that's pretty self-explanatory. Now we also have Here Maps and Here Drive Plus. Here Maps allows you to preload maps, so you don't have to depend on network connectivity for your maps. And then Here Drive Plus is just the navigation app, so you have turn-by-turn voice navigation with 3D mapping. We have the Internet Explorer app, of course, an essential. Messaging, music plus video, so this is where you can purchase music and videos from the Microsoft Store. And then we have NFL Mobile, My Verizon Mobile. We also have our messaging app, again, a nice clean interface. We have our Music plus Videos app. This allows us to download music and videos from the Xbox or Microsoft Store. Now we have a really interesting app here called Nokia Screen Beamer. So if you select this, basically it directs you to go to beam.nokia.com, so you can broadcast the display of this device to a web browser. So let me show you how this works. Now the app is directing me to scan the QR code on the website. Basically all I have to do is hold it up, automatically scans it, and pairs the device to the web browser. So now I'm seeing exactly what I'm seeing on my Nokia phone. Now you can see it's not the smoothest frame rate, but you can be connected to either Wi-Fi or a cellular network for this to work. It's pretty seamless and pretty painless. So again, you can go to your home screen, you can see exactly what's on your home screen, you can open up any one of these apps and see exactly what appears there. So it works pretty well. It's not the smoothest experience, but it's a really slick solution for getting what's on your phone onto your computer. Now as you can see, you also have portrait and landscape orientation, so even if the device is in portrait mode, just by rotating the device, you do get landscape on your display. So the app doesn't have to support landscape mode for that to work. Now the Nokia Cinemagraph app is kind of a way of taking an animated photo. Basically, when you hold the camera still, it records a photo and records the action elements in that photo and then can animate those separately. So it's kind of hard to demonstrate, but what I did is recorded a video or a cinemagraph of my dog. So what you can't tell here is that when I recorded the image, basically it identified the fact that her head was moving, and so it can select only that area of the photo to animate while the rest of the photo is still. Now, it's not necessarily useful here because her body wasn't moving anyway, but for example, if you're in a scene where somebody is jumping or tossing a ball or moving across the floor, it can actually pick that action element out and only animate that element so it looks like the person is the only person moving in the photograph. So again, it's kind of an interesting effect here, and of course you can publish this to share with other people, but of course you do have to use Nokia services in order to share that photo because it's a non-standard format. Now we also have Nokia Storyteller. This is an app that automatically turns your photos and videos into albums depending on the location and date they were taken. So for example, if you go on that vacation to Hawaii, it will automatically group them together because of your location and the date they were taken, and of course you can share those, and that aggregates both photos and video. And of course we also have our Office suite, which includes Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and they do give you some sample documents here. This is mostly for viewing more than editing, but this gives you control over those things. And of course you can log into your Microsoft 365 account or Office 365 account. You have your People app for your contacts, your phone dialer, photos, settings, store, and you have my Twitter app, Verizon ringtones, voicemail, Verizon Navigator, which is a paid subscription service to navigation, the Wallet app, and the Weather Channel app, which came pre-installed. Now under settings, I have lots of options. So I have system or applications. So under system, I have my ringtones and sounds. So here I can pick my ringtone. Right now, Verizon Cube is selected. As you can see, it's in Verizon red, indicating which one is selected. But if I want to change that, all I have to do is select it, go back and change it back if I want. You can also play it here. So there you go. And let's go back here. You can see that we can also change our IM tones, voicemail tones, new mail, reminders. You can also enable key press, lock and unlock, camera shutter, and other notification sounds. We have internet sharing here, so we can enable that just by toggling on and off. We have email and accounts. So you can see the ones I've already added, Microsoft account, Google, and Twitter, so I can manage those here. And I can add additional accounts from Outlook, Hotmail, Backup Assistant Plus, which is a Verizon product, Nokia account, Yahoo Mail, Google, IBM Notes Traveler, Facebook, LinkedIn, and other accounts. You can also add your IMAP accounts through this, or your POP accounts. We have our lock screen, so here we can modify certain things that appear on the lock screen. So right now, my background for the lock screen is Bing Weather, which I just enabled through the app. And we also have other things. For example, you can choose what apps appear in the quick status, so you're limited to a certain number of them. So phone, messaging, mail, and voicemail. And they gave you one to modify, and I added Instagram, but you can also select different ones if you want. So you can see Instagram beta is there. Again, it supports third-party access to that feature, so that's nice. We have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, tap and send, which uses NFC technology to share files or other things between phones. Battery saver mode, so here you can enable this. Tells you a little bit about your battery life as well. Keyboard, language and region, brightness, I'm just kind of skipping over things. Backup, ease of access, speech, find my phone. So find my phone is kind of like find my iPhone. If you go to, windowsphone.com, you can use geolocation to find your phone. Again, it's a nice feature to have built in. Now under display, you'll find sunlight readability. So this improves screen readability in bright sunlight conditions. Battery saver brightness reduces screen brightness when the battery saver is active, or when battery saver is active. You can also change your color profile here by going to adjust, and you can manually adjust this if you want. They give you some sample photos to test out. Now under audio, we have our equalizer, which is supplied by Dolby headphones. So this is a equalizer geared toward higher quality over headphones. Storage check tells us about the storage. Right now you can see I have about 22 gigs available to me. Right now it's checking it. There we go, 29 available, only 6.1 of that is used. Call and SMS filter, so you can block certain numbers from receiving calls or messages. And touch, so here you can change your touch sensitivity. And the great thing here is if you go to high, you can actually use gloves with this device. Now let's take a look at the camera app, which you can launch from a locked state just by tapping and holding the dedicated camera key up here. And also, if you're unlocked, all you have to do is hit that once and it takes you right to the camera app. So it's really easy to get to the camera, which is a great feature here. So you can tap anywhere on the scene to focus. It uses the LED as an AF assist light, which is quite nice. And then you can tap your shutter release to take the photo. It does a pretty quick job focusing and taking that photo. Now you can swipe in from the right edge to get to your controls. So we have our white balance, which you can leave to auto, cloudy, sunny, fluorescent lighting, or incandescent lighting. We have our focus mode, so we can select manual focus or infinity focus, and as you can see, this basically acts as your focus ring. We also have ISO, so we can select our ISO. It goes all the way up to 4000, and you can leave it back to auto. We have our shutter speed, so this goes all the way up to 4 seconds, or all the way down to 1/16,000th. And then we have our exposure level, so you can leave it to default, or overexpose it or underexpose it. So when you're done with your settings, just tap the shutter release and you're good. Now we can also launch our video recorder just by tapping the video icon and hit record. We also have pinch in and out to zoom, which is pretty smooth here. As you can see, it almost has an automated effect when you pinch in and out, which is kind of neat. Now when you take a photo in this app, you actually take two photos. You take a 5 megapixel photo and a 20 megapixel photo. So if you go to this icon up here, it takes you to the 20 megapixel photo, which you can crop yourself. So instead of zooming in on your scene, you just take your photo and crop on what you want. So you can go to crop and you can go ahead and save it. So you're working with a lot of megapixels with that high resolution sensor, and it gives you a lot more flexibility after you take your photo. Now in terms of camera performance, this is one of the best cameras I've used to date. So again, we have 20 megapixels to work with, so you have excellent sharpness with very low color noise. Works great in low light conditions. As you can see here, I used the flash and it did a pretty nice job bringing out even the smallest detail here. In low light conditions, also works really well. It's really stable and sharp. Again, we have optical image stabilization, so it's able to expose the scene properly. So you can see it's not too blown out and not too dark with very little color noise. One of the best cameras I've used in terms of low light performance. And again, lots of detail here, so let's get to my good shot of my dogs. It could be a faster camera. It tends to be a little slow, but that's normal because it has to focus. There you go. You can see it's not too blown out, even though we have really deep contrast here and really bright light from the sun coming through the door. So a really nice camera. Now in terms of size comparison, here we have the iPhone 5S with its 4-inch screen versus the 5-inch screen we have here. So you can see it's not tremendously bigger than the iPhone. 5 inches is kind of on the normal side in terms of smartphones these days, unless you're the iPhone, of course. So 5 inches to me is just about perfect. You don't want to go too much bigger than this because you lose one-handability. But here you can see I can wrap my hand around the device and touch my fingers, so I can reach around the device without being too clumsy here. I find the phone to be pretty ergonomic. We have these nice angular edges, which doesn't take away too much of the space around the phone. Gives you a nice grippable edge here to hold on securely, and when it's on the table, it's easy to pick up without problem. It's kind of similar to the iPhone in that respect. It's very comfortable in the corners, even though we have sharper corners here, but the back of the phone is angled or rounded, and the corners themselves are rounded, so they're pretty comfortable. So it looks like an angular, blocky, industrial phone, but it's actually really comfortable to handle. Now if we compare this side by side with an iPhone, you can see both of them have angular sides, which create the illusion that they're thick phones rather than thin phones. Of course, the Nokia also has the bump out on the back and the front, so it's actually much thicker than the iPhone. But if you look side on, if you just look at the flat side, you can see they look very similar, but the Lumia definitely is thicker. So in conclusion, I'm really impressed by the Icon, both in its design and feature set. So I think this is one of the best looking Windows phones I've seen, and it's not too big and not too small. So on the back we have this nice smooth polycarbonate texture, really high quality with that metal band around the edge. Gives you that nice cool to the touch metal finish with that nice rigid finish. Seamless design, just beautiful construction. They've done a really nice job here. We have that 20 megapixel pure view camera with all these software features that come with it, including optical image stabilization, stereo audio pickup, which is excellent for video. And we have pretty decent audio on this, even though it's a mono speaker. Again, that beautiful 5-inch AMOLED display, which works great outdoors in bright sunlight conditions and just looks sharp and clear with deep contrast, with that nice kind of jeweled-like front display with that chamfered edge. Really nice to feel and handle. So just a really nice phone overall in terms of its design and its ergonomics. It's about the perfect size, perfect weight, just feels high quality with a nice camera. And of course we have Windows Phone, which of course is not for everybody. This is an ecosystem that is still pretty much dependent on Microsoft. You can't really integrate Google here, so if you're dependent on Google, it probably isn't the best phone you're going to look for. And of course, Apple is pretty much locked down to iOS. So you're going to have to really get fully integrated into Microsoft if you want to fully leverage this phone. There's not a lot of third-party apps, but most of the apps are here, including Instagram. Unfortunately, apps like YouTube aren't here. But of course, you can download third-party apps that replicate YouTube. The YouTube app from Google. So certain things will not appear here, and of course apps are slow to arrive on the Windows Phone platform if they arrive at all. So that's something to keep in mind, but most of the core apps are here. Now the Windows ecosystem is very mature. There's lots of services here baked into it. So you're not really missing out on anything. You just have to be fully invested into Windows in order to take advantage of it. So that is the Lumia icon. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again in the next one. What's up guys, Mike here, the Detroit Borg, and I'm using the front-facing camera of the Lumia icon. Again, this is 1.2 megapixels, 720p. This also has stereo microphone, so you should get pretty decent audio. And I have to say the camera quality is pretty nice for 720. So definitely a great camera overall, although it would be nice if it was 1080 to match the PureView camera on the back. So here we are with Zoe and Chloe in the foyer. This will allow me to demonstrate the zoom feature here, which takes advantage of that 20 megapixel sensor. So as you can see, when you zoom in and out, it actually doesn't lose quality, and that's because we have 20 megapixels to work with, so it just crops the sensor for us. So it maintains resolution, and it does so in a smooth way too when you pinch in and out to zoom in on your image. So it's a really nice video camera. And again, we also have optical image stabilization, so a really nice high quality camera. It's definitely one of its standout features.